What's up guys, it's me Zero to my Kitsune, and today we're going to be talking about Street Fighter V. In particular, how Street Fighter V could make a few changes in order to draw in more casual players. Now, some people might say it's too late for that. The game's well over a year old, it's in Season 2, might as well just forge on forward with competitive and, don't look back. I don't agree with that. I think it's never too late to try to draw in new people with good features. Not axing off other features, but adding in more good features. So with that, I just have 5 quick ideas about what could be done about Street Fighter V, opening with trials. Now the trial system in Street Fighter V is fairly bog standard, and they're actually surprisingly easy compared to the trials in Street Fighter 4, and I thought I'd be stuck on a couple of them for, a couple hours, and instead I was clearing all the missions within, a 30-minute session at max. So ignoring the difficulty of them, they're fine for casuals. Casuals will be able to get those trials, but an idea to improve it would be the ability to do trials for the DLC characters you do not own. That way, people who still aren't hardcore for the game will be able to taste some of the content that they could be either purchasing or grinding out for. That draws them in and keeps them in, rather than playing the existing roster, getting tired of them, and instead of seeing the new characters and saying maybe I'll stick around for them just leaving. Instead, you give them a reason to stay. So that's the first one. The second one would be about the skins. Now currently the skins are all purchasable with real money. You can unlock, I think, one alternate inside the game and purchase that with fight money, but the rest of them are all purchased with real money. I think a cool way to improve that would be not to make them purchasable with fight money for some reasonably cheap price, but simply make it so they're purchasable with fight money for a ridiculous price. That means you're telling customers that if you don't want to spend a penny on this game, you will still be able to play plenty of content, not just characters, but outfits, stages, all that such. You just need to invest the time in it. If you just have them as purchasable with real money only, you're not sending that message. Instead, you're saying, yeah, some of this content will be permanently gated off with cash. But if you just set them at a ridiculous price, sure, some people are going to complain about the price, but the others will be like, well, at least I can buy them with fight money. So that's for skins. The third one, I think this is the most critical one. So out of all of this, a lot of this is just, my opinion, but this third one should have been done when the game was released. Integrate frame data into the tutorials. Frame data is a critical part of fighting games, not just Street Fighter, but fighting games in general. There is so much information and knowledge to be gained from frame data. The fact that frame data is not included in the game is an issue all by itself, but the tutorials are supposed to tell you how to play this game, how to be successful, to get you on the right path. And while the tutorial doesn't just have you mash buttons and call it a day, it does teach you some things. It still doesn't teach you the important information, like 3 frame jabs, 4 frame jabs, teaching you what to do when your opponent's on wake up, what's safe, what's not. It doesn't explain those kinds of information, and that's really important. So that one's the most critical in my mind. The next one is one that's important to me. I doubt it's important to other players, but I think it'd be really important to casuals as well who have played the game. Adding in fight money rewards for player matches. Player matches. Simply because some people don't care about the online ranked experience, but they got Street Fighter V to play with their friends, and this would be a decent way to reward those players for their loyalty to the title, to keep them sticking around. Instead of telling their friends, well, I'm tired of Street Fighter V, let's go play, I don't know, Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, drawing a blank, there's this new game that came out, I'll link it in the description because it's pretty cool. But instead of telling them to move on to those games, They'll be like, okay, let's play a couple more matches, I can get a tiny bit of fight money from this, and maybe I'll be able to save up and get that next DLC character that y'all were saying was good, but I didn't particularly care about. Now, I'm not saying add in, you know, maximum fight money rewards for a victory. No. Actually, I think it should either be the amount of fight money you get from a loss, even if you won in that player match. This is to prevent abuse of the system, or less than that, but be somewhere around that area when it comes to fight money game, but give the player something. Currently, you can do missions inside of player matches and get fight money, but those are random, and once you've done the mission, you're just kind of SOL. So that could be a way to keep people who bought the game but aren't too enthusiastic about it, they're lukewarm, got it for their friends, it keeps them playing. And the last one, again, is this one's actually probably the smallest out of the entire list, but simply engage the characters more inside the game. Have the characters in the roster communicate. Maybe they're explaining the missions that are on the list, maybe they're talking during the title screen, etc, etc. Maybe even add in voice packs that have them as the announcers, though those will probably cost money as you're adding in you're having the voice actors doing extra work, so maybe that's a little bit too expensive, but adding in just anything that allows the characters to communicate, maybe even in just text boxes somewhere on the top of the screen at any stage of the game except in the matches, because then it'd be distracting. But some people buy and play fighting games not necessarily for the fighting, strangely enough, but simply because they like the characters in the game. That's why they pay attention to the franchise and sometimes get more excited when a non-fighting game includes those characters than when the fighting games that they came from comes out. So if you simply engage the players with those characters that they love more, they'll be more enthusiastic about playing the game. But those are just some 5 things I thought up one day. Leave in your comment section whether or not you think that would help anything, whether you think it's too late or any of that. I'll read it, I'll try to reply. Either way, I'll see you guys next time.